This video will show you how to create cross-sections at every 100-meter interval and also how to create or generate volumes from the cross-sections. The first thing we need to do is we need to create some sample lines. Sample lines are in the Home tab, Profile and Section View, and select the sample line command. Selecting the sample line command, the software then asks you to select the alignment or press enter. I'm going to select the alignment by just zooming in and selecting the alignment on plan. Selecting the alignment, this dialog box of Create Sample Line Group appears. You can give it a unique name if you want. I'm going to leave it as the default. The sample line style, you can see from the preview here. Once you select that preview box, it gives you a preview window of how it will display, and I'm okay with that. Your sample line label style, again, you can modify these as you see fit, and I'm happy with the generic settings that are in here. This select data source to sample, this is all the information that will be included in our sample lines or cross sections, and I want all that information in there. So what we have is the existing ground surface, we have the road one, and you'll notice that this is a square shape and it's not a triangle shape up here. So that is the corridor, and then we have the square or the triangular shape here, which is the corridor surface. So the road one corridor surface. And I want all three bits of information in our section views. So I'm making sure they're all selected. You can change the style in here, and later on I'll be showing you how to do it when we have the section views created. Select OK. This toolbar then appears. Mine, just a bit of a graphics error there. It's shown a bit black in the top. Yours won't display like so. We are going to this icon here, which is 5 in from the right hand side. So if you click on this icon and the drop down menu beside it, select the drop down, and we want to go by range of station. Select by range of station, and this dialog box appears. We're just going to modify this dialog box. So the start range, we want to start it from the start of the alignment, make sure that's on true. To the end of the alignment, make sure that's on true. This here is to do with the width of our sample lines. Depending on how much cut and fill you have, you might have to make this bigger or smaller. I'm just going to make them 25 for the time being, and we can always come back to this and modify them. So that's for the left hand side, and also for the right hand side, the sample lines, I'm going to make them 25 from the center alignment. Then down here, this increment along tangent, I want to change these to 100. Because my increments for the cross sections or sample lines at every 100-meter interval. So I'm changing along tangents, along curves, along spirals or transitions at every 100. And then we can see that down here we have at horizontal geometry points, we do not want an extra sample line or cross section line at horizontal geometry points. So I'm going to change this to false. We do want one at the start and at the end, and we do want one as it changes in super elevation, and go OK. And press enter on the keyboard, and you will see your section lines or sample lines created in the model file. You need to make sure the sample lines are wide enough to include the full width of the earthworks of the highway. So I can see that the sample lines are outside of the earthwork lines there, which is good. And it all looks good there. The next thing I want to do is create some section views. You first have to create the sample lines, what we're just after doing, and then we can create the section views. The section views are in the Home tab, the Profile and Section Views panel, and we have Section Views command. Select the section views command and then click create multiple views. Selecting create multiple views, the dialog box appears, and in here we need to first tell software what alignment we're working with. So in my case, the alignment is called alignment 2 there. Again, if you didn't know exactly what alignment it was called, you can click on the select from drawn area. Now what I'm just going to do is, I do not like the name of that alignment 2, so I'm just going to modify that for a second. I select the alignment, go over to the properties, and I'm just going to change the name to road 1. Go back into my section views, create multiple views, and now I'm going to be selecting road 1. And again, if you had a load of alignments in here and you didn't know the exact alignment name, you can just use this select from drawn area and select it in the model file. The sample line group is just sample line group 1. We only have one sample line group in there. The rest then, section view names, I'm going to leave that as the default. I'm not going to put in any description. The layers here, I'm going to leave it as default. And then the exaggeration on the vertical and horizontal scale, I want to leave them as natural. So we're going to leave it as X section natural scale. Go to next for section placement, and we want to double click on draft here. We're not worried about production yet. This is for getting it ready for PDF, but we're just concentrating on getting quantities in this video. I'm going to modify the group plot style. Right now it's going to be printing off 0, 100, 200, 300, 400. I want to go from the top left and go horizontally across. So I'm clicking on this edit button here, left click on the edit button, and you get a dialog box to modify the group plot style. And then in here, I just want to go to the array tab. And then what I want to do, instead of my plot rule, you can see it's starting off down here and it's working its way up. I want to change this by row. So now you can see it's going to the right. And then I want to start my start corner to be upper left. So now you can see it's starting from here and it goes 0, 100, 200, 300, 400, and so on. I don't want to change anything else in here, so I'm just going to go OK. And that's this section placement view done. Go next. The offset range, I don't need to change anything in here. The elevation range, I don't need to change anything in here. The section display option, I'm not going to change anything in here. And then our data bands, within the data bands, I'm going to modify the information in here. If I select on this cell, it'll bring up this box, which will show me what the band heading will display as. If I click on this preview button, clicking on this preview, I can see the very first band there is proposed level. I'm going to close this down. I'm going to do the same for the second one. It says empty band 4. Select the cell, click on the preview button, and I can see this is existing. So what I want to do is I want to have the surface 1 as proposed and the surface 2 as existing. So if I click on the surface 1, make sure this is proposed, which is road 1 surface, and surface 2, I want to make sure that is existing. And then these bands in here, it doesn't matter what you put in for the second or third one because they're empty. And then the last one, you just want to make sure it's either on existing or proposed. So the only thing we changed in there was the very first row, and the first column there for surface 1 should be your proposed surface, and then surface 2 should be the existing surface. And then just click on create section views. Selecting create section views, make sure you just place your section views away from your profile or the plan of the horizontal and vertical or horizontal geometry. You do not want these section views overlapping with any information on your site. So the section views have now been created, and these section views are at 100 meter intervals. So you can see it starts off top left 0, 100, 200 and so on. The next thing we want to do is we want to start getting some quantities from these cross sections. To get quantities from the cross sections, we first need to add in materials into these section views. To do that, you just select one of the section views, and to select the section view, make sure you select either the box for the bands or this green box around our section, but do not select the section line. It's not the same. Or select the labels down here. You want to select either the heading down here, change it 0, the green box, or the band box there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select compute materials. With this compute materials function, we're basically telling the software what area within each one of these section views we want to add a material to. With doing that, we have to make sure we're on the right alignment. In our case, it's going to be road 1, and also the correct sample line group. Select OK, and in here there is different criteria we can create takeoffs from. Currently it's on this 2 surfaces. We can create different ones for footways, road construction, but we're just today in this video just going to concentrate on 2 surfaces. Then we have 3 different types of volume calculation methods. We're going to be staying with the average end area. And what the average end area does, it gets the area of this section view and then gets the area of the other section view, divides it by 2 and multiplies it by the length in between these sample lines. Our existing is going to be change this to existing ground, and our proposed is going to be our road 1 surface. Go OK. And that has inputted in the material in our section view. Now it does absolutely nothing with the section view, but it does input in a material in there so the software can calculate the volume. Then to generate the volume, we just select the section view once again. If we go back up to compute materials, and again just make sure you're on the right alignment and sample line group, you will see that there is a different dialog box this time, and you can see that our material name of materialist 1 is in there. I'm going to change this to proposed the existing, because this was the material that we just created there a second ago, where your existing ground was your base and your compared surface was your road 1 surface. Go OK, and then I'm just going to select this generate volume report in the contextual ribbon for the section views under Launchpad panel. Click generate volume report, and then in here again you need to select the right alignment and the sample line group, and then we can see our material that we want to select. In this case it's going to be proposed versus existing, and then select a style sheet. If you click on this folder button here, you just want to make sure you're selecting this Earthworks XSL file and go open, and then display XML report, have that ticked and go OK. I'll open up in the internet browser, just go yes to the scripts that are usually saved. Do you want to allow script to run? Go yes, yes. Now you might just have to close down one of these browsers, and then you'll get a report. We can see the cumulative net volume there is 600, is minus 600 or 6,508. We can see that the total amount of fill is 56,277, and the total amount of cut is 49,769. And that's how you create your volume using the cross sections.